Pops, and I'm going to talk to you about Yellowstone Season 5. Yes, I'm a little late to the game. I did do a video, though, kind of give you a general overview of what I thought about the show. Anything right now with Taylor Sheridan is among the best things that you can watch. I'm not saying they're all like, perfect tens or anything like that. I'm just saying that the bar has gotten so low that pretty much all of these shows tend to be enjoyable, well written, well executed, high quality, great cast, those kinds of things. Whether you're talking about Mayor of Kingstown, you're talking about early episodes of Yellowstone, the spinoffs, those kinds of things. So just to know you're kind of safe. Like, I'm going to get into why I don't care for Yellowstone as much as maybe some people do. So here we go. Yellowstone season 5. Everything is, I've kind of gotten through everything. And I'm going to go back to if you guys are just going to have to understand that this land battle, this obsession that Kevin Costner's John Dutton has with keeping all of the land and fighting off all sorts of different projects. And I'm still going to go back to that $500 million deal that he said no to. But because of that, he is now run for governor. He's being sworn in. You have Beth and Jamie there, and you have this sort of battle with Market Equities, who's this firm that basically had Beth working for her for a little bit. It's going to kill the deal, going to figure out how to kill the giant airport deal and all the surrounding impacts from that. Then the other thing that's happening is it's we're going to get to Casey, like what's going on with Casey. He's really not kind of part of the core storyline, and you end up having this situation with Monica ready to give birth at any given moment. He doesn't know what to do, where he's supposed to be, and those kinds of things. And then she starts going into labor. So lots of spoilers. We'll kind of go through the season, hit on some of the high notes, hit on some of the things I like and don't like. But again, no matter how critical I am of the show, I want you to understand that it is still in the top tier of the things that are being made today. Right. So no matter how bad I sound like I am, I just want you to know that if I have to rank, best TV shows of the year so far, Yellowstone is going to be at the top 5 of that list. They're definitely in the top 5 for sure, not without a doubt. So the show is still very, very good, and they still have a lot of very interesting and engaging characters. I think they've missed their mark to allow Costner's character to have written out. Like, it would have been interesting to see him pass away. He had these different illnesses. They kind of played with the cancer card for a minute, and they had that he was shot and left on the side of the road, and this long multi-month, like 6 or 7 month recovery that he went through. But now it's like none of that happened. He's just going to be governor, and he's very open. And I'll get to my feelings about the show later, but he's very open about he doesn't really want to be governor. He's just doing this to save the ranch. He has no problem manipulating politics and strings and whatever he has to do to make sure that they just get to keep their ranch. So total corrupt motivations right from the get-go. Okay. And you go through a couple of episodes where the first thing they do is they park Casey off to the side. So Monica gets in a horrific car accident, loses the baby. So all of the season at this point has Casey sort of like out of the loop. He doesn't know if he should keep doing the livestock commission work or not. They don't know where they're going to live because, all the emotions and things like that. Now, there are some great conversations and stuff that's birthed out of that. John has a great scene with Monica trying to encourage her, great words of advice. And we all get it. We get the concept of the mourning. We get the concept of the pain and stuff like that. But I will admit that the timeline doesn't feel right. Like, it seems like it would have been weeks before they bury the baby, things like that. Like, it's just maybe I'm wrong. The timeline is not as drawn out as it feels, and it's all supposed to be that condensed. And if it is, then it seems almost absurd for the amount of things that they pull off in the show. But John is very unorthodox as a politician. He has no interest. I do enjoy those elements of the show where, he's got a room of advisors he's never met. They're basically creating meetings and policies just out of whole cloth and just all these different things. I loved all that. I thought that was actually very good, very interesting. I'm really kind of sick of the Beth versus Jamie stuff. Jamie's completely like a hollow shell of a human. He's just almost like a MacGuffin character. Like, he's just something to kind of be there to manipulate, to irritate the Dutton family, because if he's not in the equation, it reduces their vulnerability tremendously, and to the point where it's actually going to cost him. Because he's still alive, he can be manipulated, which he is by the end of this first half of the season, to basically betray the family and John and call for his impeachment. I'm just over the Beth thing. Like there's two major sequences with Beth getting into a fight. First off, there's her continuing to belittle people. Like there's a dude that tries to hit on her at a bar. And instead of just being like, no, just go away, she has to go on her typical Beth. I can read people better than any other human could. You're this, you're a teacher, and you're this, and you're that. And she's like, of course she's spot on, right? I really hoped he would like, no, you're completely wrong, and just walk away from her. That would have been better, but it's not. It's always about trying to prop her up as this, they're basically trying to make her like this alpha drunk Chad of a woman. I can't, I'm sort of over her character because there's really no growth. There's no change. She's refusing to deal with the pain of her past and being honest with Rip and John about the abortion thing, the situation with Jamie. There's this just violence and chaos that breaks out. John's allowed to just be a moron with how he wants to run the business. They're not making any money, but he's constantly making decisions that just continue to make things more complicated or worse. She comes up with solutions, and then he just belittles her. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. And I got to end drunken, crazy violence, right? She gets into this bar fight because some chick hits on Rip and then, smashes her face with a bottle. So therefore, because she's the governor's daughter, she should be allowed to do all this, right? And it's just like this horrible conceptual reality check of, is this how some of this stuff works? If you were related to the political leadership, you just walk, and therefore you get threatened that you also be charged because you were in this fight. I hated it from a reality check point of view. And I hated it from the fact that Beth is just still this monster and just nothing ever changes kind of thing. I was hoping that with Rip and this, by the way, they have this kid under their wing, but they don't really ever parent the kid. Like Rip just yells at him like a farmhand. And I don't see anything with Beth. Like I thought there was some tenderness at the very beginning, like it would cause her to now be torn into being a parent and having to evolve into actually being motherly versus having to be this monster Black Widow businesswoman that she's become. Jamie's a joke. Jamie is like a teenage boy who has been in his father's basement playing video games and doesn't know anything about the real world. Then he's out in the real world. He's knocked up his aide who has a son. He has a son now. He was manipulated by his dad, and now he is manipulated by this new woman. It's very clear that she was going to manipulate him, and it is so predictable. I was very disappointed. So I'm bitching and moaning and complaining about a whole lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, it's still a pretty good show. A lot of the secondary characters sort of have moments, right? You have the farmhand that likes the singer. They have the birthday reason. That's why they go out to party, because of it's going to be oh my gosh, I just had a total brain cramp of what is his name. The main guy, he's like one of my favorite characters. Oh my gosh, okay, it'll come to me in a minute. Walker just doesn't exist in this season anymore. Like he's in it, but he's like barely in it. It's him, getting with the girl, the rides that rides at the shows. I don't know, man. Lloyd. Oh, geez, Lloyd. That's it. Lloyd's birthday. I love Lloyd. Not enough Lloyd. I don't know. I feel like there are some moments where things are really, really interesting and good. I also feel like it's just it's a show that feels very stagnant, and it's in large part because they messed up with the land deal, and they should have just created a new problem, right? And instead they didn't do that. And then they don't really, I think, no, I don't think they have an exit strategy on what to do with the characters, because they missed their easy exit strategy for John, because it would have created more conflict with Casey, Beth, and Jamie to figure out who's going to control the family. And then Rip is the one who should be controlling the family, because Rip is still by far best character of the whole show. by far the most interesting, the most dynamic, the thing that we all enjoy watching the most. And I will say there's a scene with the girl, this environmentalist nut job girl that John's banging, where he basically gets involved with her fighting Beth. It's, you guys look like fools. Here, just take punches to the face. Best scene probably of this half season was that stuff, because it was just so well done. I loved all of that. So goods and bad, ups and downs. Pretty good as a whole, better than most things. I'll say that. And I will say I just went from this right into watching 1883 because I was well recommended, and I've done that. So I will definitely hit you with my video on that very, very soon. So stay tuned to that. Love to hear what you guys think, how you're enjoying or not, and what your thoughts are. Thank you so much. I'm Pops.
Yeah. Right?